Hey everybody, what's going on? Fabian Calvo, founder and president of the real estate investment firm, The Note House, and creator of the Resourceful Real Estate Academy. And this is your third video that I promise, your third training video. By the time this is over, I think you're going to really have a concrete blueprint, if you will, some real action steps that you can begin to implement in your local market or virtually whatever market you chose per the first video that, I said go out and find your market. That was number one, the first step, if you will. I think it'll really serve you. But first off, I want to thank all of you that have just written to me, that have either posted a comment on the Facebook page, but even more so, emailed me directly, Fabian at resourcefulrealestateacademy.com. Your questions, it just shows all of you are so eager to learn this information. Whether you get my program or not, the bottom line, it's good to see that there's such a large group of us that are really the next class of real estate investors out there that are going to be the leaders in the industry. I mean, that's who I believe everyone who's purchased a program, everyone who's invested in it, is invested in their career and being a leader in the industry in the 21st century. Now, let me just quickly, recap the opportunity of this market, which I think is like no other out there. What is the opportunity? Just to recap, if you missed maybe in video 1 or 2, and again, it's really simple. It's the toxic debt and properties. Never before in the history of real estate investing has there been the amount of toxic debt and toxic properties on the market as there is today. I shouldn't say on the market, because the truth is these toxic debt and properties are on bank balance sheets, over 1,000 banks that are on the FDIC troubled bank list, and then the dozens of hedge funds, big banking institutions that are global in nature. All of this toxic debt and properties is sitting on their bank balance sheets. And the fact is that in the research that I've done, less than 10% of real estate investors know how to tap into that, know where to find it, and know how to access that inventory to really just monetize this market and be a provider of inventory to all the big money that is flowing into these markets. If you watched my micro documentary, you know that's one of the second opportunities is the big money that is flowing into the real estate market right now. Like I said, feed the big money in this market and you will earn a fortune in this market. That's what's so awesome. It's really that simple. Find the inventory, pair up with the big money investors, put those together, and there you have it. So that's what the beauty of this program is. And so, in the first video, I said, okay, go out and find a market, right? That's your first step. Go out and find the market. And remember, we're in a virtual market. These institutions and this big money, they're not in every single market. They don't have a presence, a physical presence in every single market they're investing in. They have maybe people that are in that market for them. You could do the same thing. I teach you how. But the truth is that you need to know what market you want to invest in. Now, my company, The Note House, I'm investing in a couple dozen markets across the country. I started off, when I first started investing in real estate, I started investing locally. But, I needed to find a way to basically break through that. And especially after the housing collapse, I needed to find a way that I could, basically monetize all the knowledge base that I had learned through real estate investing. How could I really make a career, make a living at this? And, my story is, and some of you have already heard it, that in just a few short months, I started going from financial uncertainty to making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing real estate deals by implementing and taking advantage of these two steps. And now a bunch of other people that have either worked directly with me or that I've been able to mentor, I've seen the difference in their lives as well, where they were basically running the 9-to-5, rat race, if you will, and now they're empowering themselves by following action steps that are easy to use, and they're making tens of thousands of dollars a month on their way to making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And that's how simple and easy this all is. So that's what, if you notice the passion and excitement in my voice and I talk all loud about it, it's because I am so passionate about this. And it's just, I've seen it change people's lives and seen it just, I've seen them surpass and blow themselves away at the income that they're now able to make, related to the income they used to make, or while they used to be in that rat race of having to show up to a job or, basically deal with the boss or wear a suit and tie. They're out of that. They're now on their way to financial freedom. It is truly awesome. And I could also testify from my life as well, the just amazing transformation that this information, and again, what I find so amazing about this is that the majority of real estate investors are clueless about the driving factors of the real estate market, but more importantly, of this opportunity and how to tap into this opportunity. So, in the first video, I told you pick your market. Now, in the second video, I gave you a solution to the number one challenge I hear. I mean, most of the emails, most of the questions you guys have sent and you girls have sent have been, Fabian, it all sounds great, but I don't have any money to invest. What am I going to do? Well, that was my number one challenge starting out. I didn't have any money. I was broke, living in, basically a one-bedroom apartment. I barely graduated high school, dropped out of college. I certainly wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. In fact, my dad was a small business owner. My mom was a social worker. I grew up in a household that basically said, go to college, get a good job, and basically be part of that 9-to-5 corporate America world. In fact, in my family, if you were part of that corporate America world, that was success for them. Earning 50 grand a year, 40 grand a year, that was success. And for me, that just didn't sit right. And I think if you're watching these videos, you feel the same way. You want more time with your family. You want to have the ability to earn an unlimited amount of income. You don't want anyone to be able to cap your income. And you want to do that on your own terms, which is so important. So I gave you that breakthrough, step, if you will, of overcoming the number one challenge most investors face, which is the resources, not having the money to invest. And the way you get around that is you tap into the big money, or what I call best buyers. These best buyers are investors. And what's great about the best buyers is that these best buyers, investors, in any given market, I found that there's at minimum half a dozen to a dozen. Typically, there's many more. But these are people that meet a certain criteria that you're able to recognize immediately, and you're able to do business with them in a very short period of time. They're going to be beating down your door to do business with you, to partner with you, and they'll recognize you as such a tremendous amount of value because you, unlike many of the people they're working with, whether it's people in that local market or real estate agents or what have you, you're able to deliver the toxic debt and properties that many people aren't able to because they don't know how. And I teach you how to do that. So here's the deal. The third step for you to really begin this journey, right? Again, whether you want to get the program or not, it really doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is to just see such an overwhelming response of people that want this information. And for me, that's a sign that, this is that the new class of entrepreneur, of real estate entrepreneur, I think is dynamic. I think they understand the opportunity at hand. I think they understand that it's now a virtual market and it doesn't matter where you're at. I mean, people as far as Australia, Japan, Thailand, Canada, the UK have invested in this course and they're really beginning to make a difference in their lives. But step number 3 in this is for you to begin to target local banks and hedge funds and big institutions that have the toxic debt and to have the, all these properties that they're going to sell. And once you contact them and position yourself as that real estate entrepreneur expert, then you just have separated yourself. In fact, here's a list. I wanted to make a list of just a few of the things that I could just think off the top of my head. I mean, there's many more of just the things that you're going to learn, right? Because here's the deal, here are the reasons that I think this system will empower you. It's a 6-hour audio course that covers the last 10 and a half years of my real estate business, basically my real estate experiences. That's what's so amazing about the world we live in today. In fact, never before in time, 20 years ago, this wasn't possible. 10 years ago, this was kind of possible, but today it's at our fingertips where you could take 10 and a half years of my real estate experience, my troubles, the pitfalls, my success. I could put it into 6 hours. I could deliver it to you, and basically you could learn everything that took me so much time, so much money, so much losing money, making money. You could learn all of that in 6 hours. And, here's the thing is that for you to go out into this market and to begin to succeed, you need to know things like finding inventory. How do you find inventory in this market? And how do you become part of the 1% of real estate investors that are able to tap into that opportunity and to deliver it? Now, my program gives you all that information. I give you the information on how to target those people, how to develop a rapport with these institutions, where to find them. In my confidential disc right here, I actually give you the list of the top sellers in this market, the most active sellers in the market in REOs, foreclosures, notes that I've worked with, that I know that are on the leading edge of selling these types of toxic properties and toxic debt. I actually give you the list with about an hour and a half of video training in this CD, in this disc that's for playing on your computer, that shows you and reveals that to you. Now, another thing as well is the blueprint. How do you develop a blueprint, a system where you can close deals weekly like I do here? Basically, we're closing deals every single day here. And again, my office, I have an office in Tampa that I spend a lot of time in. And my office in Tampa, I'm closing deals, whether I'm in New York, whether I'm in California, I'm closing deals in Detroit, Atlanta, the Carolinas, Kentucky, Northern California. All over Atlanta, Florida, and I don't see 90% of these properties. So building that system to do that, right? It's not just me, it's people that have an incentive to help me close these transactions. I teach you how to do that. So my program gives you what took me 3 years to build and to implement. I give you that so you know, okay, I get that. I see how he does it. I can do that myself. So boom, immediately you have that access. How do you find and partner with best buyers? Remember, the best buyers are the big money investors. How do you find those people? Where are they? All the people that have invested in this program, last week I sent them a 20-minute video that broke down exactly what this program was, which is just part of the course overall. I send you out a bunch of free gifts. You're going to get sick of it. And at some point, you're going to see, Fabian, enough. I have so much great information. I want to go out and implement it. But how do you find the best buyers and partner with these people where these best buyers will recognize the value you add, and they're going to literally want to say, hey, let me lend you money. Go out and you buy properties. That's one of the results that I've seen other people experience. And of course, I can't guarantee your results because I don't know you, but I know what's worked for me and what's worked with others that have invested in this course, and that is being able to tap into the big money, the big investors that are on the forefront of that particular market that you've chosen to invest in. Now, learn to close deals with no money, no credit, no risk. There's 4 strategies that not only I implement every single day, but I can tell you some of the top hedge funds in this country implement, because I deal with those hedge funds all the time, that some of the best, biggest, brightest investors in real estate today work in, that are part of that 1% of real estate investors. What are those strategies? How do you implement them? How do you get started and have no concept of real estate? Some of you watching this might not know anything about real estate investing, but how do you go from not knowing anything, or perhaps you've done some deals and you kind of know the lingo, how do you go from that to in 30 days being a seasoned real estate investor that not only can attract best buyers, but could also begin to do deals where you close, where you don't need any money, any credit, any risk? I should add, no real estate license. My program gives you all of that information. In fact, there's a whole entire disc that's dedicated to what I call the tactics and strategies for resourceful real estate deals. A whole hour about how do you put those programs, how do you put those deals together. Now, another thing that my program will teach you is working with the most sellers, or what I mean with this really working with the most active sellers. And I kind of touched on this in this program. I give you the most active sellers of this inventory now so that you can go out and develop your own rapport with them. I've spent literally thousands of dollars meeting with a lot of these people, attending conferences around the globe, around the country, meeting with these investors, developing a rapport with them, developing a rapport with these institutions, and now I give you that list so you can develop that rapport. That alone is pretty much worth the cost of the whole entire course. Also, how do you buy notes, REOs, and foreclosures? Specifically, though, notes. Because many markets, foreclosures and REOs, they're drying up, or short sales are drying up because a lot of investors have already, they're on that bandwagon. Here's a new bandwagon right here. And no one's really on it, is non-performing notes. And right now, there is trillions of toxic debt out there waiting for investors like you to go and begin to work out, buy, do deals, flip it, simultaneously close it, whatever it may be. But how do you buy them? How do you resell them? How do you monetize them? All of that you learn in my program. And here's just a few others. I mean, this one for me should be at the top because it's really one of my favorites. But these last two, because I could give you so many more. Working virtually and investing virtually. I mean, I could spend so much time with my kids, with my family. You know, last August, I was in Hawaii for an entire month, and I was closing real estate deals while I was sitting by the pool in Maui, basically doing real estate deals because I was able to do it from my iPhone. This is the new, just a new way of doing business. It's the satellite business. It's the satellite office, if you will. And how do you do that? Well, I break that down for you. In fact, a whole video, a whole CD, a whole hour is dedicated to that topic of virtual due diligence. And lastly, forms and how to use them. I really don't know of any other program that does this. I actually give you the forms. It's one of the free gifts that I'll be sending you when you invest in the program. Give you the forms that I use every single day. And also I give you a video tutorial, if you will, that walks you through where do you put the name of the parties, where do you put the money, where do you put how much you're buying it, all that information. So here's the bottom line, is that you can go and you could begin to look for different places, or you could begin to gather this information for yourself, and that's fine, right? You can begin to spend, the 3 years that I spent in putting together different systems for real estate businesses, and you could go out and you could find all kinds of information that teach you how to put together business systems for different industries that work. Or you can, try to find inventory by calling banks or whatever it may be. You can go out and do that as well. Or you can invest in the program, and I give you not only the banks to invest in, but over the 1,000 different banks that you can begin to call now, what to say, how to approach them, in the way where they immediately recognize, yeah, this person knows what they're talking about. I feel comfortable that this is a legitimate investor. How to separate yourself from the pack. Because remember, you'll be in the 1% of real estate investors out there by implementing the strategies in this program. So I can go over all of this, again, and just really drive home that this is, I think, a program that gives you all the tools, tactics, everything you need to go out there and begin to crush this real estate market. Whether you get this program or not, honestly, the opportunity is the opportunity of a lifetime. I hope you begin to, at the very minimum, implement the 3 steps that I've given you, step 1, 2, and 3, over these last 3 videos. And go out there, turn a profit, recognize the opportunity, and become a resourceful real estate investor. Thanks for watching. I'm out.